It seems to me that in chapter 20 of the Gospel according to John, what we encounter is a range of perspective when it comes to the resurrection. We tend to ignore the reactions of many of the players, and we tend to fixate, it seems to me, on Thomas and Thomas's response of doubt. We tend to view Thomas like the member of the team that misses the pivotal shot at the buzzer. And we tend to sort of look down when we mention his name and sort of shake our heads. Thomas. He's one of us, but Thomas. Now, if we really engage this chapter, it seems to me that we don't encounter disciples that are paragons of faith. Mary Magdalene is there at the tomb first, and her immediate response is fear and sadness. She's upset because she believes that Jesus' body has been stolen. Rather than engage with the resurrection, she assumes that there is another explanation, that the body has been stolen. Not exactly what Jesus, I think, was looking for at the empty tomb. She tells Peter and the beloved disciple, they race to the tomb and they find it just like Mary Magdalene said, empty. And rather than reflect on what Jesus taught them, rather than exhibit some sign of hope about the resurrection, they walk away sort of scratching their heads, leaving Mary Magdalene at the mouth of the empty tomb. The 20th chapter of John's Gospel tells us that Peter and the beloved disciple went home. Well, that's not exactly, I think, what Jesus was hoping for when his key disciples, Peter and the beloved disciples, his closest followers, found the empty tomb. To go home. It's even sort of shocking because they leave Mary Magdalene there, crying, weeping, broken at the empty tomb because she can't find Jesus' body. They can't even comfort her. They abandon her and go home. It seems to me that none of the individuals in the first half of this chapter, demonstrate any kind of real devotion or dedication or stunning faithfulness. It seems to me that they're all shrouded in confusion and that they really don't know what's happening. But Mary is the one who is rewarded because Mary doggedly stays by the empty tomb. She won't go anywhere. She's bound there to the place she last saw Jesus. And Jesus comes to her, reveals himself to her, and she's rewarded and has this experience. She has this experience of the risen Lord, and that's what transforms her. That's what moves her from thinking Jesus' body is just missing to really believing that he is alive. And she goes and tells the disciples, the rest of them. But the rest of them, if we follow this chapter closely, they don't exactly do anything about it, even when Mary Magdalene has told them she's seen the Lord. And that's where we pick up this morning in the gospel. They're hiding behind locked doors in fear. Mary's told them that Jesus is alive. And what do? They don't go out and proclaim it. They don't go out and say, yes, it is as he told us it would be. They huddle up in fear until Jesus comes to them. Until Jesus comes to them and provides them with an experience like Mary Magdalene. And it's that experience of Jesus coming to them, giving them the Spirit and saying, peace be with you, that they come to believe and are transformed. It's in the seeing, it's in the encounter that things change. Now, poor Thomas. He's not there. He's just not there. We don't know where Thomas was. Maybe he was hiding alone. Who knows? But he misses the moment. And when he hears that Jesus is alive, he doesn't respond with doubt. He responds with a kind of provisional acceptance. He says, I'm ready to believe. I just need more. I'll believe when I have the experience that the rest of you have had. I'll come to faith. I'll move. I'll change everything once I share what you have. And of course, the good news of the gospel is that the risen Lord gives disciples, followers, what they need to believe. And Jesus comes to Thomas and grants him what it will take. He meets him on his own terms. And Thomas has the experience that changes his life forever. It seems to me, if we take this chapter 20 of the Gospel according to John very seriously, what it tells us is that faith is evolutionary. Jesus' intimates don't have it like some sort of possession. They develop it along the way. They don't even have it after a year of mission and ministry with Jesus. They have it when Jesus comes to them and shares his resurrected new life with them. Like Mary Magdalene, looking for a rational explanation for Jesus' absence, it begins with a kind of uncertainty, a kind of questioning. But faith continues to grow in terms of the kind of wonder and confusion and awe that Peter and the beloved disciple embody as they walk away from the empty tomb, hoping, but trying to figure out what has happened. But faith deepens as Mary Magdalene clings to the empty tomb, certain that something can happen there, and she will receive what she needs. And then, of course, for those that aren't present at all the right times, Thomas is the example. That Jesus will show even for those that are not where they should be, that Jesus will come to them and offer them what they need to believe and to follow. You see, Thomas isn't the paragon of doubt. Thomas represents us. Thomas has come to the party late. He wants to believe, but he needs something. And Jesus gives him what he needs. Friends, I think Thomas is an individual, yes, in the Gospel of John. But Thomas is also a device, a literary device. And the words that Jesus directs to Thomas are words that Jesus directs to us. For those of us that haven't seen, for those of us that haven't had that one-on-one experience yet. Thomas is about, an example I should say, about being in community, being together, and knowing that Jesus will be there. Our experience is different than the first witnesses. We gather in community looking for Jesus just the same. And through grace and through hope, we're blessed in finding him in this place, in the lives that we share, in the lives of those that surround us. Jesus comes to us even now. Jesus offers us a vision of his risen life, and we find it together.